Hey, Queen of the Universe. So I need to share this. This is actually take two of me trying to record this video. So I thought I'd be cool and do one of those like walking videos. I don't know if you've ever seen think those like cool like young Protestant pastors kind of do that. I'm walking around the parking lot of the church like telling you stuff. It's a little bit windy out and the audio ended up being horrible. So by trying to be like cool, I ended up wasting 10 minutes. So from now on, I'll just sit in front of bookshelves and try to look smart. But I think the reason that I shared that is because I think that there's something to be said for dealing with disappointment, right? There's something to be said with dealing with frustration. I really could have, after that, said, you know what? There's no way. I'm just not going to put this together. Um, I tried it. It didn't work out. You know what? We're just not getting a video this week. But instead, I persevered. I came back inside. I took the laptop and I set it up here where there's no wind and where the audio is going to be pretty good and the lighting isn't great. I should have closed that window, so I'm kind of washed out on this side. That's a neat effect. Here's my face. But what we're what I, what I wanted to talk about, and the reason why I was walking, was because I like to draw an analogy between our physical body and our spiritual side, right? Our metaphysical body, if you will. They work in concert. They work a lot alike. I guess it's not by accident that God created us that our inner workings work a lot like our outer workings. I guess maybe that's also why we have spiritual and corporal works of mercy, right? Like caring for one's body, but also for one's soul. So what am I getting at? Well, I'm getting at prayer. I think we've all tried it at one point. I hope that anybody watching this video has tried it at some point. It's hard though because it turns into something where we have expectations. I think just like exercise, we have expectations, right? I think you meet someone and they said, "Yeah, I did the gym, or I tried running, or I tried this sort of exercise. I didn't really like it. I didn't care for it." And then usually we're too polite to ask the question, but it does kind of arise in our heads like, well, how much of a chance did you give it? Right? Like, well, I had a 30-day gym membership trial, so and I went like twice a week. Like, all right, so that's 4 weeks, you went twice a week. You tried it for 8 times, and then you decided you didn't like it. I think most people go and I tried running, like to the fridge, to the bathroom. Like, where did you try running? Down the street after the ice cream truck. I don't know what that is, to try running, right? So, but it's that idea. Maybe you set out one day, you put on some old sneakers, and you went for a jog around the block, right? Like you gave it the old college try. You ran for approximately a quarter mile, and you decided you hated it. And the shoes went back to being couch potato, your lounging slippers for the house, and that was it. So what happened in those circumstances? Or I guess the person too who like goes to the gym and doesn't see any gains, right? Like all of a sudden you're not, after like a week you're not benching 300 pounds and like your muscle definition isn't showing up. um so what's happening there? What's going on? Well, for one, I think we didn't give it a chance. For two, I think that we sent the expectation levels too high. I think a lot of people want to see results right away. They want that experience, right? They go to the gym, they see the bulked out guy, or they see the really pretty girl on the treadmill, and they're like, "Yeah, I want to be that guy. I want to be that girl. Let me put in my effort." And then after 2 weeks, you don't look like them, right? You're you with like 2 pounds lighter after like killing it, feeling like you're killing yourself for X amount of hours. If you put it in an hour a day, like all of a sudden you have 5 hours invested in something and like no visible results. Um, Maybe like you walked up a flight of stairs and you weren't winded, but you didn't notice that. So how does that tie into prayer? Well, I think we go into it like that, right? Like we expect to be Saint Teresa. We expect to be Saint Francis. We want to be these saintly prayers all of a sudden. That all we should have these mystical experiences every time we open a Bible or pick up a rosary, and it just didn't ever happen for me. I never felt that. Um, I'm not saying me personally. That's the voice of the doubter. But what we find, I think, is the same thing with that person who went for the jog around the block. They felt like they wanted to be able to run a marathon, or that there was some kind of a, they were gonna wake up and be an Olympian by the end of their jog around the block, or this Olympic weightlifter after they bench 20 pounds for a week, and it just doesn't. it doesn't add up. And I think most of us understand that for the physical part. We wouldn't walk into those with unexpected or unrealistic expectations. We wouldn't walk in and say, "Yeah, I'm going to run a marathon today. I just bought these new pair of Nikes. They're super nice. I got the right kind of sweats and sweats. Went out and bought the Under Armour and I got the gear. I got the wireless headphones. I am ready to go." And you get out there and you're like, "Let's do this. I am running 26.2 miles today. I think I got that right. That's a marathon. I'm gonna do it." And you start running and you get to about 3/4 of a mile and the heavy breathing starts in and the side stitches start to happen and then the shin splints happen and then the leg cramps happen. Then the burn happens and you're like, "This is hard. I didn't really expect. Wow, running a marathon is hard work. I mean, I wasn't ready for this, right? I'm so glad that I had the opportunity, but I wasn't ready." So the same thing goes for trying to understand that faith life, right? It's that like, well, what am I putting into this? What am I doing? Like, where's Jesus? Like, I prayed, man. I got out my rosary. I said an entire 5 decades. I said an entire rosary. I even looked up online what the mysteries were for today. I did the whole thing. Then I said a chaplet, and then I said all these other extra prayers that I found online. Like I invoked like St. Michael and Raphael, and everybody was like showing up at the party, and I got nothing out of it. All I did, it felt like I just read a dictionary, or I read the phone book for a half an hour. And yeah, it probably did. Just like the person who ran the marathon without training for it didn't get anything out of it. I think sometimes you go on retreat and people walk away going like, "I don't get it. Like, why do people disappear for a weekend just to pray? Like, it makes no sense." So let me keep that analogy going. Jesus won for us the victory, right? We don't have to earn heaven. You don't have to do any of this to get to heaven. Now, what do I mean? He registered us for the marathon, right? It's a gift. We didn't have to do anything to get into the marathon. I'll just say the Boston Marathon. That one was just supposed to happen. So we get the Boston Marathon, and you get there, and you didn't do any of the training, and you start running, and you don't enjoy it at all. It's absolutely a miserable experience. You're looking around, going like, "I don't know what's going on. I don't understand what those people are doing. Why is that guy running like that? I don't know what stretches to do." Like, you're lost. Um, so again, just on Jesus' word, he got you. He's that friend who somehow pulled strings, got you signed up. You always wanted to run a marathon. Here you are. I think it's that same thing, right? Like heaven is conditional. Like it is a place, but it's also a state of being. So if we don't get ourselves in the right shape, we won't be able to enjoy the rewards of that. So back to that thing of like, why do you pray? Why go through all of this? We don't have to earn our way into heaven. It doesn't matter if you have a relationship with Jesus or not, right? He won the victory. He conquered death. Yes, he did. That doesn't mean we don't still have to do things to be able to embrace it. Um, so that's, I think, where prayer plays a large part. We're becoming the people that can do. You're becoming the soul that can engage in that. It's the same thing. Like I think people talk about if you're not in a certain amount of shape, you can't enjoy life as much as someone who is. If you're not in a prayerful place, you can't enjoy life and existence the same way that someone who has a close relationship with Christ does. But that's the important part is realizing that it's relationship. You have to build a relationship with time. You have to build a relationship with presence. um, I don't think there is a relationship that can flourish without time and presence. Um, I don't think that two people can get together and say like, I I love you. Like I just met you, but I know you are the person that I want to spend the rest of my life with. Um, there's a big journey ahead of them, right? Like that's not that love at first sight thing doesn't isn't really true. You don't really know anything about that person. Like what are their grooming habits? Do they snore? Like how are they going to treat the children that you might have one day? All of those things are tantamount to having a happy life and a good relationship. So um, start. This is my prayer for you. This is my advice to you today. Start slowly. Don't ignore prayer. Don't think about it like it's something I tried once and I didn't like it. The problem is, I think we go in over our heads, right? Like one day you wake up and you're like, I'm going for it. Like I'm running the marathon. I'm going to start saying Liturgy of the Hours. I'm going to jump in and I just found Father Gately's 33 Days to Morning Glory. I'm going to do it. I'll tell you, nothing sets you up for disappointment faster than trying to do something consecutively for 33 days because you miss 2 days and then you feel like it's shot. And then everybody always says like you just pick up where you left off, just skip those days or whatever. It doesn't matter. You already know you didn't do it, right? Or you don't do it for 2 weeks and then you do the consecration on consecration day. Did it count? I don't know, but it didn't feel like I really did the thing I was supposed to because I skipped. I'm going to be honest with you. I've never been able to actually get through all 33 days. It's not my cup of tea. I'm not a do something every day person. Those little books we give out. I mean, I know people that love them. I've never consistently kept up with it. It's just not. That's not how I pray. I am a sucker for repetition. Give me the rosary every day. Let me say grace before meals. Let me wake up in the morning and just remember to say, "Thank you, Jesus. It's another day. Like, what do you want to do?" Um, those little prayers, I think, so build our hearts and move us towards Christ. I think sometimes so much more powerfully than trying to climb the mountain on the first day. Just pick a hill, just a little thing. Go back to those prayers that I think we learn them as kids, so we kind of put them on a shelf, right? Like, Our Father, Hail Mary, Glory be. Like they're the standards. I'm like, they are, but they're so powerful. Like the Lord's Prayer was given to us by Jesus. Like it's the perfect prayer. Say it, think about it, break it apart. I mean, it just sums up everything we want out of every day and what we want in our lives. The Hail Mary is the literal proclamation of when the Word became flesh, of when God came to earth to dwell among us. I mean, I can't think of a more powerful prayer than those two. The Glory Be is a straight up worship and praise prayer that just acknowledges how wonderful God is. So use those. If those are the three you got in your toolbox, use what you have. Add prayers as you go along. Maybe that's it's the prayer to Saint Michael. Maybe it's the prayer of humility. Maybe it's the prayer of Pope Clement the 11th. I mean, all of these prayers are powerful and they're efficacious. But I think the more important thing is to actually just pray. Go into it with the idea that like today might not be the best day. I know, like I used to go to the gym. I got a half body shot until I haven't recently, but even it's better to go to the gym and have a bad day than to write it off and be like, man, I'm not feeling it today. I'm not gonna have a good lifting day. I'm tired. I didn't sleep good last night. I didn't have a good lunch. I was out drinking the night before. Whatever your excuse is, go anyway, right? Like 5 minutes on the treadmill was better than 0 minutes on the treadmill. If you bench 75% of what you usually can because you're tired or your muscles are sore, like that's still 75% that you wouldn't have done if you didn't go. So, like I said, my prayer for you today is to just pick something, pick a small step, a little hill, just jog around your backyard. If I can keep using the workout analogy, just take some dumbbells and walk around with it, put on some weighted anklets and just kind of go up a hill. Like it doesn't have to be monumental. You're not going to be St. Francis by this evening. Your prayer isn't going to be deepened by wishing for it or by trying it and just giving up if it fails. So take that with courage. If you've tried prayer before and you've failed, get back on the horse. If you were a good prayer before and it's kind of gone away because of struggles and frustrations, there is such a thing as muscle memory for our soul. You can get back into that. So try elevating yourself. Try to do something a little different. Look around if you've gotten bored. Try Lectio Divina. Try maybe watching prayerful videos or finding good Catholic literature to try to stir that prayerfulness in you. Find your niche. Find the thing that you can do every day. Um, well, God bless you, and I hope you try it. If you do try it or you have some thoughts, I would love to see it in the comments. Like this video, share it with your friends and family if you think this is a message that could be helpful, especially in a time where we have some extra time to pray or perhaps need more prayer in our life.